What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. Today we are going to be going over our official Mets trade deadline predictions. Different than what we've done in the past, we're going to tell you the players that we think are traded, as well as who they're going to go to and what players we're going to get back. A lot of prospect talk in this one, especially for some other teams. Since the Mets are major sellers, before we get going into it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content coming at you, as well as if you're listening to us Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. All right, James, I got a pretty good list here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 7 guys. How many do you got in yours?
I have 8 guys on the list, 5 that will be traded, 3 that will not be traded.
Okay. Listen, a non-trade is a prediction in itself.
Yes, 6 and 2.
So where do we want to start? I'm gonna let you go first with a name.
I think it has to be Freddy Peralta.
Yeah, okay. Freddy Peralta, where do you got him going?
I think that the Mets and this team have had good relations this year, last few years. I think that it makes sense to go there. They've one of the biggest needs. Freddy Peralta is going to the Chicago Cubs, like we've said all along.
Okay. I went to the other south side. I knew you were going to go Cubs. I'm going Chicago White Sox because they also need starting pitching. They're telling everyone they need starting pitching. Both Chicago teams, I think one of them is going to get Freddy Peralta. It feels like a very good home for him.
I have another big trade with us and the White Sox, different time on this list.
Okay, so who do you think would come back from the Chicago Cubs in a Freddy Peralta trade?
Again, I continue to wish into the universe Pedro Ramirez. I'm not sure if that winds up happening. I'm also not sure how much I love your Jackson Wiggins. Like, he just seems like he keeps getting injured.
Is he roast beef?
Yeah, I don't know if he's roast beef, but I think that we're going to be able to shoot higher for Freddy Peralta. Again, kind of different than what it seems like in the world right now. But I don't know. I feel like the Mets are going to really try to make sure they get a position player that can contribute next season. And to me, that lines back up with either Pedro Ramirez or Matt Shaw. Whether or not that's actually what the Cubs wind up going for remains to be seen, but I think the Mets are going to stand firm on that line as long as they can.
Am I crazy in saying I have zero interest in Matt Shaw?
I think a little crazy. I understand being weird about Matt Shaw because of stuff he's done in the past, but he's probably a functional. He's probably, he probably is probably a better version of Brett Baty.
Oh, why you got to say that? That hurts that hurts. But I guess the other thing is they've got to be able, Pedro Ramirez is obviously the better player. Do you think that he's less available than Matt Shaw?
Yeah, probably less available than Matt Shaw. I mean, Shaw has more of the pedigree. Shaw has the college production, the high draft pick. Shaw's played plus defense all over the diamond, even as much as he's not been able to hit. This year, he's a league average bat, plus defense at multiple positions. Trying out the outfield now, doing okay there, kind of getting hot and cold. Thankfully, he's changed the stance that destroyed him all of last year.
Yeah.
He probably does become a productive baseball player in his future. He probably again lines up as a guy that can start at third or second base next year as a 2 to 3 win player. That's basically it. I think Ramirez is the same, but with more tools and someone I think probably has a brighter future.
All right. Yeah, I mean, listen, those two teams do seem like a good one. I'm looking at the White Sox. Pipe dream, Tanner McDougal would be great. I think he's a fringe top 100 guy. I think that's very similar to the Cal Steven trade with the Blue Jays last year with the Guardians and the Blue Jays, where McDougal probably is close to making it to the major league roster, but isn't there just yet. And for a White Sox team that would make this move because they want to win right now, I think you'd go for a Freddy Peralta over a guy who's going to be a fringe major leaguer for your roster this year, but could help the Mets in the future. He's got good stuff. He's got a pretty big fastball. Fastball grades out, I think, at 60, 65, according to Baseball America and MLB Pipeline. So he's thrown in the mid to upper 90s. He's got a good curveball, good slider. Not really a fourth pitch, but I feel like that's kind of the archetype that we're looking for in terms of on the pitching side. Close-ish to MLB ready.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this trade deadline is going to be about the Mets getting closer to MLB ready guys that will contribute to this roster as soon as next season. I think that's a huge goal for the Mets right now. Especially
because, and it's going to sound crazy in a trade deadline where we have them both trading 6 or 7 players, that it's not a full rebuild. The Mets are not going to enter a rebuilding mode. It's kind of impossible to when you have 2 players making over $300 million on the roster, as well as a bunch of good young guys around them. They're not going to rebuild. They're looking to retool. Tanner McDougal, Pedro Ramirez, Matt Shaw, these could be all guys that help the Mets a lot more in 2027.
Definitely. Hopefully.
But,
next one I think I want to talk about is Luke Weaver.
Yeah.
He seems to be the big hot button guy right now. He's the one that, reported today by our friends at Foul Territory, Robert Murray, could be the best reliever available at the deadline because the Red Sox are not going to sell, and unsure if Mason Miller will become available for the Padres, which I threw that one to the ether. It's really catching steam.
It is a little bit.
What do you think is going to happen with Luke Weaver?
I think Luke Weaver's going to be the Pirates guy. I think they're going to throw him basically into that closer role. They've just been such a mess at the back end of their bullpen this year. And Gregory Soto had his little Cinderella run. But, like, at the end of the day, they do need more quality arms. And the Pirates farm system is a little bit awkward for what the Mets could be looking for. Like, of the close to Major League ready guys, we talked about Hunter Barco before. He's probably too good, especially because Luke Weaver has another year attached to him, and the Pirates are probably going to be a little averse to taking on so much money, so maybe the Mets would have to pay the entire thing if you wanted to bring in a Hunter Barco. Truthfully, I don't think the Mets, or definitely not myself, I don't have any interest in the password Termar Johnson, who are the other kind of like knocking on the doorstep MLB guys. I'm looking a little bit further down. Antoine Kelly would be a fun one. Sammy Stafura is a name that's a little bit further away from the major league level, but he's had a great year at high A. Also grew up a Mets fan, local kid, so would love to see that. Thomas Harrington's a name that's been thrown out. And then Wilbur Dotel, I think, is another guy who's like close-ish to major league ready. I think he's made his debut already, but
Don't you think the Pirates would be very afraid of how much money Luke Weaver's due next season?
I mean, Bob Nutting probably should be, but also then they did take on money this year in trades with like Brandon Lau and all these and a couple of the other guys that they brought in. So maybe because it's a little bit more palatable, or maybe the Mets. I'm assuming that if they trade with the Pirates in any situation, the Mets are going to give some money, which I think they should to get a better prospect.
They also made a trade like last week to save $2 million.
True.
Yeah, for this reason, I think Luke Weaver's not getting traded. I do. I think Luke Weaver will stick with this Mets team through the deadline. I think
his value's going to be too high. If he is considered as the best reliever available, you have to trade him. You have to.
Maybe it still depends. Like what the kind of prospect package return you were just describing, and that probably would come with the Mets paying down money of Luke Weaver. You probably have to give the Pirates $5 million for them to even think about accepting him. But then to me, I don't think you're getting a piece that's more valuable than Luke Weaver. If you're this serious about winning next season, which it seems like the Mets are maintaining that, and we've seen trades for relievers arguably better than Luke Weaver over the last few years that did not net the same. I keep going back to the trade. The Pirates probably regret making last deadline, getting a couple fringy major league caliber players for David Bednar. And if that's what David Bednar got, and I do think in the world of baseball, David Bednar would have been viewed slightly higher than Luke Weaver. And that was in a market last year where it felt like relievers were going for a lot. Even think about the return the Cardinals took from us for Ryan Helsley last year. I don't think that would be a return that the Mets would say, yeah, that's more valuable to us next year, for Luke Weaver next year, than those guys would be over the next 3 years. So I think that with the money, Luke Weaver is a no trade for me.
Yeah, I think he's definitely on the move. I think I would be shocked if the Mets don't move him. I think it would be a bad move by the front office. I understand what you're saying, though, from the play for 2027. But at the same time, we know how finicky relievers are. And while Luke Weaver's been great this year, do we think that it's as sticky as some of the other top relievers in baseball? We've seen this happen in his own career. He fluctuates.
But that, I think, is the exact thing the other teams will tell you when you're negotiating with them. You want a guy that's over $10 million, be like, I don't really have that much money. You have to throw this money in, but I still don't want to give you any of my 50 for future value prospects.
I think you're coming in very, very soft on the trade deadline with what guys are going to get. I know what we saw last year. Trade deadline last year sucked. There was nobody good moved.
Well, and we're talking about Luke Weaver being the best reliever available.
I know, but
think about that.
There's no depth. There's nothing. Nobody else is out there. There's only one true seller. I think Luke Weaver's going to get more.
I think it's not going to be enough to wind up trading him. And I think we get through the deadline with him. And then we're going to get leaked out the offers that came. We're going to see what happened with other relievers.
Yes.
I just think if you don't get a player that's like better than a top 100 prospect, I don't see them doing it. I also don't see them getting that.
For a reliever?
I don't see them getting a top 100 prospect.
Oh, I'm saying I didn't name any top 100
That's
guys.
what I'm saying. Not even close.
Yeah, no, of course. I didn't think they would get a top 100 guy for Luke Weaver.
So I think what the Mets are going to wind up doing, because these relievers' standalone value is not going to be great, I think that they are going to give some packages. And that's why with Freddy Peralta, I'm never going to quit that pipe dream for Pedro Ramirez. I think that that's a package deal with Brooks Raley to the Cubs.
Okay.
And I think the Cubs, you sandwich Freddy Peralta with Brooks Raley or AJ Minter, Clay Holmes with the other one, and that's how you get your guy that you think is actually a starting caliber player moving forward in the major leagues.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I didn't pick any of the same teams just because I wanted to spread it out a little bit more and talk about some guys. I had Brooks Raley going to the Blue Jays. I don't think the Blue Jays think they're out of it. They've had no left-handed relievers basically the entire year that have been any sort of good. So I think the Blue Jays are an interesting team, especially because I don't think that they're in the position to accept that they're not going to be trying to make a playoff spot still in what is a god-awful American League. There's some fun guys down the line that like you could take a look at, maybe like a Kasevich, who's like a top 10 prospect in their organization. Middle infield, corner infield guy on the third base side. Some of the more fun names down the list, just that are close to Major League ready. I wouldn't be shocked if the Mets look at Adam Macko as like an arm that's just like
try.
Major League ready for a reliever who's going to be 38 or whatever Brooks Raley is going to be in hit free agency.
Yeah, just someone that here you go. Give it a shot.
Charles McAdoo played at the Major League level this year. Like, that's what I would expect for the Mets back, is kind of that utility depth piece guy.
McAdoo was last trade deadline. He went Pirates to Blue Jays, right?
Yeah, he was for
somewhere.
Oh, man, was he the Spencer Horwitz trade? Or was he... Oh, he was the IKF trade.
Easy to get those two mixed up.
Of course.
Yeah. Wait, so that was... We were talking about... That was Brooks Raley. All right. Now I'm going to do the same thing. AJ Minter, Clay Holmes, package deal to the south side of Chicago. When you were talking before, I was like, damn, we have the same ideas.
Well,
south side of Chicago, those two together fix the White Sox.
Well, what's hilarious is I have Clay Holmes going to the Chicago Cubs. So
there you go.
Flopped them. We just flip-flopped them, which is kind of funny. But what do you think we're going to get back from them in that kind of package?
Big second half of the season coming up. There might be a hot ticket, a rivalry series, a sold-out experience that you need to get your hands on. And SeatGeek is the spot for that. You can find good pricing. They help you with the pricing. Green dot, good. Red dot, not as good. And they help you with your view of the seat for some big matchups coming up in August, September, and eventually leading up to playoffs.
Why would you not use SeatGeek? If you want to view from your seat, you want to know if it's a good seat, if it's a good deal, it has all of it on the app. It's easy to use. It's one click, boom. You buy the tickets, they send them right to you. You get them on the app, and then you can go check out whatever game, whatever you're a fan of, you can go to, whether it's baseball, whether it's concerts, whatever you're into, you can find a ticket, and you can always try to find the green dot on SeatGeek.
And for MLB tickets, you can get 10% off with that promo code we're running all season long, Territory10. That's Territory10 off your next set of MLB tickets at SeatGeek. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later.
So I went there because I thought that the Cubs would be much more aggressive this deadline than the White Sox. And if there's one or two White Sox fans that are listening to this, I'm sorry. I just don't see you guys like super hardcore pushing in. I think that's where this winds up as. And I think we get just prospects down their system that aren't, truthfully, going to say this, aren't that great. I like we need kind of some middle infield depth in our minor leagues. William Bergola, I think he's someone that has like a little bit of upside to be a regular, just as like a glove fit. I think that's kind of where we would be looking. We kind of just saw the White Sox be creative with moving Jacob Gonzalez to get some stuff. I see them being similarly creative in that. I still think Samuel Zavala could be a center fielder in the future, but I just don't think we're getting a ton for the half season of Clay Holmes plus a reliever, even as much as I want to think that there's a good piece coming back. I mentioned David Sandlin last week as well. I think that would be a great spot to be. Jedison Páez, who they got from, I believe, the Red Sox.
I think so, yeah.
This offseason, he is just a command guy, but there's no coaxing of stuff happening. I would love for us to coax some stuff. And I do like Tanner McDougal, you shouted before, but I think that might just be shooting too high for us.
Yeah, I think if there was ever someone, it would be Freddy over Clay that would get that, even though right
Tanner
now
McDougal.
Clay Holmes was pitching way better than Freddy Peralta ever has this year, but I think that's the guy who would get it. And then I'll briefly talk about my Clay Holmes to the Cubs, just because we've already gone over it. Some other names I think that could be on the move for the Cubs that are like prospect-y. I think Jonathan Long, first base prospect, could be on the move from the Cubs. They have just kind of a logjam of guys that are eventually going to need to play first base only, and I just don't really see him sticking around. James Triantos is another name that's been like fringe top 100, hasn't really burst through. I think he's another name that could be on a move, a utility-ish type player for the Mets moving forward if they were to go and trade for him. And then that's kind of it in the names that I'm particularly interested in. There might be some other names. We'll find out more as we move along.
Yeah, no, definitely. Who you want to go to next?
I guess because you mentioned AJ Minter, I'll briefly just think, I don't know why he feels like a St. Louis Cardinal. AJ Minter feels like he loves St. Louis. I feel like that'd be a good home for him. And their left-handed pitching options out of the bullpen, I know Jojo Romero is the guy, but it hasn't been very good. I think they have one of the highest left-handed bullpen relief ERAs in all of baseball, which, again, small sample, but there's a lot of fun names in the Cardinals system. Like, do they move it to Koa Roby, who's kind of not like bursting through, is kind of in that 4A range right now. I think that would be a lot. That might be the top end that the Mets could get because he will be a major league starting pitcher. But maybe we get a little bit crazy and you go after some of the guys that they even brought in, like a Yoiker Fajardo, or you go for the controllable arm that's going to be bullpen his entire life. Is the Tink Hence trade?
Yeah, finally, the Tink Hence trade. Just make him a shutdown reliever like he probably Oh, we should have been. I mean, that's a funny thing with the Cardinals front office that acquired so many prospects in such a high volume this offseason. When you go out and acquire a prospect like that, from Chaim Bloom's perspective, when you first get this job and get it out of control, are you more prone to move those guys or more prone to just move the guys who've already been in your system for a while? Because you just refresh with guys that fit your mold, things that you like, guys that you've identified more recently. And Fajardo's a guy whose strikeout rate has climbed kind of expectedly this season. He looks like someone that probably next year becomes something like a top 100 prospect, as long as the command hopefully maybe evens out at some point. But they have an interesting system, but they're another team. Like, do they buy? And I was struggling going through this because a lot of the teams that I think need these things the Mets are offering, starting pitchers and relievers, like the Phillies could really use relievers, especially with the Brad Keller news that just came down.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Mets make a trade with him. They also don't have much in their system to move. The Braves could really use a starter. We talked about that a lot last video. It would remain to be seen whether or not this Mets regime, David Stearns, is willing to help the Braves. And I was desperately trying to find a way to make a trade with the Yankees because I think that's like somewhat.
I got one.
You got one? You put one on?
I got one on there.
Who'd you do?
Luis Torrens.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, send him right back to the Yankees.
I had him as a no trade. I think the Mets are blowing smoke with all his catcher stuff, but I think they'll try.
I think they're definitely going to try. I think in the most respectful way ever, I think if you get a warm body that plays the field, they will take it for Luis Torrens. Like, he's been a great backup, but if you get offered anything that you think can turn into a good baseball player or even a major leaguer at some point, you probably should move on from your backup catcher who's now in a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, totally. I think it's the exact same idea with Tyrone Taylor. I didn't even
put him too.
Yeah, because he's going to wind up on some team that can just use a sturdy outfielder.
Phillies. He's the Philly guy.
You think David Stearns makes trade with the Phillies and it's Tyrone Taylor?
I think it's like as light as it could be. It's Tyrone Taylor. You can take him. He's going to be your fourth outfielder, help out Justin Crawford against those tough lefties. But like otherwise, I mean,
to me that's like the Rays.
You think so?
Yeah, Tyrone Taylor just wind up. He just hit him and Cedric Mullins center field platoon heading to the playoffs.
We've seen this already. We know what that looks like.
It seems like it might work this other time around, but that's to me like how those guys happen. I still don't know if the Mets are actually comfortable enough to get off a catcher because like the catcher depth in the system we talked about last video is
give me Hayden Sanger.
I'd give Hayden Sanger a shot. I would love to see Hayden Sanger get those reps the rest of the year.
Yeah, right? Why not?
Really, actually, but yeah, kind of.
I have nobody else. So those are all my guys.
All right, I have one more I think firmly gets traded.
Luis Robert.
I think he gets traded. I think this is the Guardians. The Guardians love doing this every year. This is Lane Thomas. Who's the other outfielder they made a half-season move for last
they
years?
traded for Miles Straw. Remember that?
Yeah, there was another one like 4 years ago. We were like, oh, yeah. And there's another one that just completely flopped.
I'll find it.
And I'm calling out a specific guy in their system who I like. It's kind of very similar to the draft pick we just made in Carson Wiggins, but it's Joey Oki, third-round pick, 2024. The Guardians gave him like fringe first, second round money to try and to get him away from college. They did so, and he's just not progressed as I'm sure they would have liked in their system. He is all stuff, no command whatsoever. The command keeps getting worse. I could see them being like, it hasn't worked so far. We're down to basically sell low on a prospect like this and start to try a different one. And I could see the Mets being like, all right, we're down for another wicked ball of clay power pitcher dude who just looks like he can, at worst case scenario, develop as a frontline reliever in a few years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just holding on to the dream that he's going to come back, he's going to be great, and then he's just part of this team, and I love him. and I get
you're the last person with that dream.
That's fine. It's let me have my dreams. But yeah, he's probably gone as long as he like actually plays games before the deadline.
I think he definitely will.
The
news we're getting on him is that he should be back playing ball like next week.
Okay.
And if that's the case, like that's going to be a hell of a showcase.
God, I can't wait to watch.
No,
I'm gonna have to get to the park early. Let him pay my respects.
Watch one more Luis Robert batting practice.
Oh man, we haven't even seen one. I haven't been to the ballpark that early this year. I don't want to watch this team.
And we also never really get home batting practice, no matter how early you get to the ballpark. And besides that, I think a Bo Bichette trade is too far-fetched. I'm not even going to comment on a Francisco Lindor trade. I think Francisco Alvarez similarly won't happen. A Jorge Polanco trade would really tickle me, but he has to really look healthy these next 2 weeks.
I saw a couple interesting trade rumors, or I shouldn't say trade rumors, trade proposals thrown out by people about Jorge Polanco and Luke Weaver, and I was like, yeah, I mean, if we got Lazaro Montez back, I'm gonna pop champagne for that haul. That'd be unbelievable.
I also did have one more actually.
Do you think? Well, okay, go.
Kodai Senga.
You think he gets traded?
I have a feeling he gets traded, but I think there's only a few teams that would be willing to take this on. It'd be a team that would have to give him incredibly specific instructions about how to be a high-leverage reliever and help their playoff run this year. And when I narrowed that down, I got to the Yankees, the Guardians, I think like the Phillies could pull it off. I don't see the Mets doing that. The Brewers, and then the Dodgers. But then you also have to have the money to be willing to accept Kodai Senga. We talk about this every time. Somewhere between 13 and 15 million next season. I kind of think the Dodgers would take that on if we take a little bit of money off them, which is kind of a funny thing to say. But I do wonder as they still have Hae-Sung Kim worth a few mil puttering around AAA, and to us that can be someone that can mix in utility guy next year, have a shot to do something good athlete.
I don't hate that.
I feel like that could be something that maybe possibly might happen. Even though he's been terrible in the minor leagues, he's been terrible when he's been in the major leagues. Just as a way to equal out money, be like, here's my problem, give me your problem.
So just trading the two foreign players that we both don't want on our team for each other, essentially. Change the scenery for both of them.
Where they're from has nothing to do with it, but it's more of the fact that each of these guys are kind of stuck at a wall with their current organizations, and maybe the other one can help you unlock something. And also at the same time being like, we're taking out 13 mil, you have to take 4 mil from us.
That was a really nice way to say what you just said, that they've both hit a wall. They're stuck.
Professional podcaster right here.
But, yeah, Mets are going to be active. Those are our official trade deadline predictions. Again, Francisco Lindor is not going anywhere.
Francisco Alvarez, I don't think is going anywhere.
Don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think any of the big names are going anywhere. I also don't think Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio, Mark Vientos are going anywhere because I think they have zero value. Of all of them, I think Brett Beatty has the most value. I think the other two have literally nothing.
I think the reason that they won't trade him because he has the most value. I think the Mets see him as one of the 26 guys next year, 100% still.
Probably is. Probably if Brett Beatty's your 26th man, it's a pretty good roster.
Great roster. I mean, that's what we're going for.
The problem is that right now he's one of the 10.
As we're recording this, we just got news that the game's actually moving up tonight because of the horrible air quality. It's supposed to get even worse as we move through the weekend.
Really? I thought it was supposed to be good by like Saturday. It's got to be good by the World Cup.
Yeah, I think by Saturday.
All right. Well,
tomorrow's Friday.
Whatever. Just don't go outside. It's simple. It's easy.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't even. I was just like walked out of my apartment this morning. I smelled a campfire. I was like, how is this real?
Hot take. Love the smell.
Yeah, love the smell, but I don't like breathing it in consistently.
Oh, it's definitely super unhealthy for us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one right there.
But prayers up to all the people in northern Canada.
Yeah, right. And not sorry. It sucks that we have to deal with your mess.
A little reminder there, James, about the moved up time because we got the Philly series coming up. But first, Mets'd Up is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Join the action is easy. Just make a free pick on who's hitting a home run in their next game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home of home runs. I mean, it's Kyle Schwarber, right? Kyle Schwarber and Soto. If they're on there, you got to pick them.
Yeah, I definitely would like to. I think Kyle Schwarber, especially against Christian Scott. This is coming to you guys after that game, but I think that we're going to see some Schwarber bombs this weekend after the All-Star stuff.
So, are you ready to play your game? Head over to FanDuel.com/podcast to get started. That's FanDuel.com/podcast to opt in for daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball.
No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
We got more breaking news even after the game time being moved up on Thursday, which that's not going to mean anything to you guys. Marcus Semien was apparently activated.
Whoa, Marcus Semien back.
And Zach Short, you got clipped complaining about Zach Short, DFA'd again. So if we know anything about when Zach Short gets DFA'd, the Mets are about to go on a magical run, capture our hearts, produce a song.
Where's Jose Iglesias?
Probably go to the NLCS. Jose Iglesias was posting Mets stuff with the OMG. That's really sad,
right?
I feel bad for Jose Iglesias. Maybe they'll give him like an ambassador role or something. But
they should.
It's kind of sad.
They should let him do the hype man thing before the game. Like, here come the New York Mets.
Then we're just going to get trapped in the OMG psychosis forever. But I guess that's news. Marcus Semien's back, so
get to watch him play baseball again.
When Luis Robert comes back, where are all these guys going to play?
We'll figure it out, I guess.
I was hoping Semien would just kind of coast through the end of July until he had to come back. Oh,
yeah,
God.
Would have been nice. But, hey, I guess he's back early. He's ready to play. Who's he going to be facing on the mound, James?
I'll load up those pitching matchups right now. The Mets and Phillies are actually some of the teams that disclose their matchups ahead of time just because most teams don't because they don't have to until Friday. It makes fantasy baseball an absolute disaster. But the Phillies have manicured their rotation so as to not have to let their best guys face us because they have the Dodgers coming after us, which is a really nice tip of the cap. But Thursday, we're living in the past right now. Christian Scott versus Aaron Nola.
Oh, God.
Saturday, 4:05, Sean Manaea, Jesus Luzardo, left off. And Sunday, 1:35, the appetizer for the World Cup final. Nolan McLean versus Alan Rangel.
Who the hell is Alan Rangel?
He's been he kind of took Taiwan Walker's spot as like the mix and match fifth guy. Rare pitcher out of Mexico, which is kind of fun. He misses bats. He's really not bad at all. I think he could actually develop into
He's
like
Ron
5'6".
He's Alan Rangel.
Alan Rangel, for sure. Alan Rangel. That's my bad.
I kind of like calling him Rangel, though.
Rangel. I mean, spelled Rangel, yeah. Alan Rangel, but Alan Rangel. You guys just saw this team destroy us.
Yeah.
I feel like that probably happens again. I don't know where this Mets team energy level is going to be out of the break. We're going to learn a lot, I guess, on Thursday at a weird game at a weird time. It's kind of lay down mode for the Mets.
A little bit, yeah.
Phillies, Brewers, Dodgers, Braves, Marlins right out of the break, and then Guardians right when Jose Ramirez comes back. We're facing teams in the playoff race, like in perpetuity.
I feel like I saw a graphic that said that we have the second hardest schedule in the second half, which means that there's no shot that the Mets are not selling, by the way, guys, to tie it back to this video. And I did see some people saying, like, but what if we come out hot by the trade deadline? I think the Mets could win 13 of their next 16, and they're still 7 games under 500.
Like, even the Red Sox winning 9 in a row. Like, if we won 9 in a row, we'd still be, like, 8 games under.
God,
Like,
that's depressing.
The Mets have 0% chance to wedge back into the season. I give credit to Juan Soto and all of his media availability at the All-Star festivities to be like, yeah, we know we haven't played well enough. We just got to get hot and tie this thing together. Not going to happen.
No. The Mets win 9 in a row. They'll have one more win than the Washington Nationals have right now. That's crazy. There's no shot. It's over, guys.
By then, they'll have, obviously it's over. Everyone watching this knows it's over. But again, looking at the way the Phillies even lined up their pitchers, I know Christopher Sanchez started in the All-Star game, and I know that you want to give Zach Wheeler more of a break because of everything he's gone through in recovering from his TOS this year. But they organized so their best 2 pitchers would not face us.
Yeah, all right, take advantage of it. Why not? Let's go.
Think about that for a second. That's where it is. I guess take advantage of it, have fun. I would like to beat the Phillies, but I'm going to watch this game just to watch AJU and Carson Bench and Juan Soto.
And Francisco Lindor.
Francisco Lindor, of course, Bo Bichette. I'd like to see it all
Marcus
happen.
Simeon.
Marcus Simeon, he's back, but he's not starting. I
right.
don't know what's going on with this guy. Maybe he's just going to revert back to being a lefty guy. I don't know what's going to happen with this team for the next 2 months.
And guess what? You'll still listen to us and watch us. That's how you'll learn, because you probably don't want to watch every inning of every game. That's why we do it. Thank you guys for watching. You know the drill from here on out. Subscribe to us over on YouTube if you're enjoying the video content. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
And I'm Draft Deck Mark. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets.